All right, there we go.
I want to introduce Nancy Granson, who's our volunteer coordinator at our Matthews Library, which has one of our most active volunteer programs in the county. And I'd like to ask Nancy to talk a little bit about that program and how it's so successful and why.
I think for Matthews especially, the town of Matthews has really stepped up. When you have a small town and they heard that their library was going to close, that just made everyone crazy. I've got over about 100 volunteers that come in at least 2 hours a week, and they do most of the shelving. It's just been wonderful. It's been a wonderful opportunity, just heartwarming to see people who love the library, who would do just about anything to help us out. They'll be shelving, they shelf read, anything I need, anyone's sick, I'll come and help. It's just phenomenal to me. That people, out of the goodness of their heart, just come in and just, come and help.
Could you talk about the relationship between the staff and volunteers?
In the beginning, it was a little difficult.
You were going through some challenging times.
We were going through some times. No one knew what was happening. Administration didn't even know what was happening. So we kind of just sat there and thought, okay, volunteers, what's going to happen here? We only had 12 volunteers prior to this whole thing. It was challenging, but in about a month, you could just definitely see a change. The staff realized, wow, this isn't too bad. And I mean, the relationships between the staff now and the volunteers, we are one cohesive team. It is amazing to see what has happened because people are just so compassionate about the library at coming either as a volunteer or as a staff member.
One of the things I love is I really see the mutual respect between the volunteers and the staff and the volunteers at Matthews. And also see that the staff and the volunteers have become some of our best advocates across the library system, particularly at Matthews, where 100 of them might show up at a county commissioners meeting or at a town meeting to talk about the library. That's pretty powerful. It
certainly is, and we actually have a mayor pro tem for Matthews that volunteers, which I thought, wow, that's pretty great too. I mean, people that have been retired teachers, people that have children, people that have grandchildren, just all walks of life have come in to help us out. And and now they actually bring their friends in. I love coming to volunteer. Do you have any room for me? A friend of ours wants to come. Sure, come on.
One of the ways I think about it is that volunteers feel ownership of the library. And when you feel ownership, that's a very powerful incentive to protect and also to help in any way you can.
Definitely, yeah. It's been a great experience for me. It really has. I think it's made me a better person because I was worked in the library for 14 years and very structured and had to be this way and now I find, well, it really doesn't have to be that way. It gets done, but it might get done in a different way. But it gets done. And they'll just love it. So,
thank you, Nancy.
You're welcome.
Also with us today is Beatrice Guevara. And Beatrice has been very active in our outreach. She's at the Independence Regional Library, which serves a very diverse community. Beatrice, if you could talk a little bit about outreach and how particularly you're reaching Spanish speakers in the community.
Okay. I think as David mentioned before, I have a real passion for diverse communities, especially for Hispanic patrons, because I am bilingual and bicultural. So I think one of the main things about reaching Hispanic communities or diverse communities is just going out there and being with them where they are, because a lot of times other populations, they think that coming to the library is coming into this big government organization that maybe they're not wanted, they're not welcome, they don't feel like they can approach us. So I think just being out there, so one of the things that I do is I go out to health fairs, I go out to churches, to different schools, and just get in there with them and talk to the people, ask them what their needs are, what they want to see from their library, and just create programs based on that and just bring in different books that they would need. Recently we went to a health fair where we signed up about maybe 30 people for library cards, and there were people who had never been to a library before. And when talking to them and asked them, why have you not come to a library? And they said, well, I've heard about it, I just didn't know that I could just come in. So those are the things that I think is really important, just being out there and being seen by this community.
And Beatrice, I know you got your library degree actually while you were working, and you went away for a little while, went to another system for a while, and came back to us. So could you talk about getting your library degree and what that's meant to you?
Sure. That has been fantastic. I've always wanted to be a librarian since I was about 12. I came to the United States when I was about 12, 13, and I was in an ESL class, and I didn't speak a word of English, and it was very hard for me just to communicate with other people. So I started going to the library because it was a quiet place. I felt accepted just being there reading. Nobody bothered me. I didn't bother anyone. But there was a librarian there who was bilingual, and she kind of took an interest in me, I guess because she saw me so frequently. And we started talking, and I just kind of wanted to be like her. I said, one day when I grow up, I'm going to be a librarian just like her. And that's how it all started. It was hard for me going through college. I just didn't have the money, and with immigration and everything that was going on, we had to leave. We need to get scholarships, things like that, because we were still applying for our citizenship. So it was difficult, but I kind of pushed on, and that's what I feel I really communicate to other people as well, is that you can reach your dreams, you can become what you want to become, because I was able to do it. So I just got my library degree back in July of 2010. And I have worked as a family literacy coordinator and now as a reference librarian. So it's fantastic. And I do tell Hispanic people, you need to become a librarian. So you need to be in the library because we need more bilingual people in the library. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Thank you.
So, yeah,
Any questions for Beatrice or Nancy?
Great stories.
I do have a question for you, Beatrice. Are you involved with Reforma?
No, but I'm going to. That's one of my goals this year. I just became a librarian, like I said, in August of 2011. And I am going to join and see. That's one of my goals, to be involved with them and being in committees and being able to help them and just kind of unifying all of the services here in this library, as well as getting to know what other libraries are doing outside of our system.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.